show how you pick.
Well, I'm Stevie.
And I'm Billy.
And we are the parents of Fletcher, Layne, Baker. Fletcher Layne Baker was born July 24th, and our lives have not been the same since. My whole pregnancy was completely normal, no complications, no side effects or anything. Honestly, the type of pregnancy you would wish for. It just was really smooth. She was born on the 24th of July, and we were shocked because, you know, once she was born, we realized that there was something wrong. Her head was obviously large. They hurried up and took her, did MRIs and testings, and we just immediately started praying. We waited to hear what, you know, the results were going to be. We were praying it was just going to be hydrocephalus. We of course went to Google immediately, trying to figure out, you know, what could this be? Praying it was something easy, fixable. And unfortunately, they came back with the worst news that you could ever imagine. Basically, that there was nothing that could be done.
You were born on Sunday, July 24th. And we will never be the same. You're fierce and you're strong. And you're our angel. And we adore you and we love you, and everybody here does as well. We love you, sweet boy.
After spending a week in the NICU over at Ruby, we were blessed enough to be able to come home on hospice with her, which was something that was not guaranteed, and we finally got the go-ahead. So we were so excited to get to bring her home.
Thank you, Jesus.
Hi, baby. Welcome home. Welcome home.
Entering Garrett County after leaving Ruby it's hard to put into words because, you know, we're in this place of living this nightmare. It's like the best day of your life because our daughter was born, but also like the scariest, and we received the worst news. So it's so many feelings. But entering Garrett County felt like a big hug. Like everywhere we looked, there were pink bows. There was pink everywhere. Every mailbox, every driveway, all these trees had pink bows around them. I've always known we live in the best place, but like this experience has just even more so made me realize that I know we live in the best place in the world. I mean, just the love and support from everyone in Garrett County, you know, this tight-knit community, you all carried us through this. And then we got home and it's so overwhelming, and then there were meals, and it was like there was dinner every night, and anything that we could have needed, it seemed like everyone provided. We just felt so loved. We still do, and it was so special coming home and seeing that in such a heavy time in our lives.
We were sent home, and the expectations were two-week life expectancy. She would never be able to suck, talk, move, cry, and early on she started doing those things, and I believe it was at the 1 month mark we went back to Ruby Memorial, and obviously we were excited. We thought, hey, this completely changes things, and ultimately we're told that they still believe that her life expectancy was a couple months.
Yeah, they basically accredited like her doing so well to, well, you know, when you get home and you get into a routine and a loving environment, babies can thrive. So they just kind of told us the same thing, which we were crushed because we really had hope at that 1 month mark because she was doing so many things that they said she wouldn't. So at that point we came home, we processed that over again, continued to pray for a miracle, but also tried to accept what was happening, and really just prayed for either her to be healed with earthly healing or with heavenly healing. And we just tried to start to accept that, you know, but never gave up on praying for a miracle. So another month goes by. We were really desperate to find somebody that would do another MRI. We just wanted peace of mind in seeing, you know, the scans look the same. Does some, you know, other opinions, other people feel the same? So we reached out to Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. They saw her through like a video chat, and looked at her MRI from the week she was born. And we heard back from them and they felt the same. They just felt the same as Ruby. Nothing could be done. Soak up your time. They told us they felt doing anything would be doing something to her, not for her. So, you know, we trusted these opinions and just tried to process again and just tried to accept that, which is impossible to accept, you know, it's your worst nightmare. Another month went by.
Yeah, and it's almost like the grieving process starts all over again. You know, you get your hopes up, you know, someone's finally going to do something for her. And we talked about it the whole journey while we were home on hospice, just that it's like grieving someone that's still alive, and especially as a parent, like that being your child, it's just something that, you know, you really can't fathom it until you're in the position of, you know, grieving your child, even though they're still alive. So running through conversations you're planning on having with people when it happens and getting things in order and contacting funeral homes, it's
unimaginable. But God was truly with us through that whole time. And people say, like, how'd you do it? How do you get through it? And I think that's the only answer, is that God really did give us the strength to just survive and just get through. And early on, Billy said, like, he was like, I'm not going to grieve her while she's here with us, because I had a hard time not doing that. And he just made the decision to not do that. And I said, okay, you know, I'm not going to do that either. And we just started living, started making memories, kept praying, and just like pushed through. God really just gave us the strength, I think, to survive those 3 months at home on hospice, along with the amazing support of our community, our family, our friends. We just kept pushing. So then at month 3, you know, she was still doing great, still hitting milestones. The things she was doing were still blowing our mind. Our hospice nurse came over one day and she had mentioned that they had a meeting and that Dr. Miller mentioned something about St. Jude. So I thought, well, what do we have to lose at this point, you know? Let's just send in. I found some application on their website for a second opinion. So I sent it in, and just a few days later we heard back from them and they wanted to see us. So we literally packed a couple duffel bags and just headed to Memphis 2 days later.
Yeah, they called us and they said, you know, we looked at her scans, we think we can help her. Can you guys be in Memphis in 2 days? And obviously we were like,
so excited.
Of course, but very overwhelmed. Like, and we went to Memphis with the expectations, just like our second trip to Ruby and contacting Hopkins, that, you know, I think we packed like 3 duffel bags,
yeah,
expecting to turn right back around. Like, we had already had plans of where we were going to stop on the way home, and like,
which is so sad to think about. But I think after hearing devastating news so many times, I think like we were trying to protect our heart a little bit. So we were so excited to get clarity on another MRI. That's what we were like really, really wanting. So I think we were still praying for a miracle from God, which we had already received one at this point. I mean, she had been with us for 3 months. So literally every day, you know, is a miracle that she's here with us.
Yeah, but the first day we got there, we checked in with her doctor, and she saw Fletcher and saw the size of her head and was very blown away. Like, she said that she had expected a large head, but this is hydrocephalus like she had never seen before. So immediately, the very next day, she had a shunt. The fluid in her head had shrunk down, her eyes had come up. It was one of our favorite days because it was like seeing her for the first time, or she got to see us, like her eyes. We had barely seen her eyes while we were home. She was already looking at us and we just were hysterical.
Oh my gosh, Fletch. Look at your eyes.
Yeah. What do you think, early girl?
So seeing her eyes for the first time and seeing her head go down so quickly was breathtaking. I mean, it was just amazing. And from there, our story at St. Jude began, really.
Her doctor had surmised that if it was a specific tumor that she thought it was treatable, but we wouldn't know until a biopsy. And at that point, it really sank in with us just how long we could potentially be in Memphis. I mean, we had the expectations of us turning around, but at this point, you know, her doctor had told us that it could be 6 months, a year, 18 months. We had no idea, but at this point, worry for us from back home was starting to set in. You know, we bought a house, we still have car payments, we have a business to run. This is when financial help for us was at a critical point, and the world doesn't quit moving just because, you know, your kid has cancer and you're 13 hours from home, and we had a lot of worries. But
God truly provided, between St. Jude just being such a huge help, the community being such a huge help, our family helping us. We got through our time there. And this was for the first time since Fletcher was born that we had hope. So that was crazy. You know, we went from living our worst nightmare, being on hospice with limited time, to hearing the words, "We think we can help her." We were just on cloud 9 thinking like, wow, like there really might be a chance.
Yep, and then mid-December they decided that she was stable enough to perform a biopsy. So now they can figure out what type of tumor it is, test the tumor for a specific target, and if we got lucky, she might not even need chemo. They would do an oral med called entrectinib. And surely enough, we got the results back a couple weeks later. And it wasn't until that point where her doctor had called us on her personal cell and told us, like, we can treat this tumor. I know with 100% that this tumor can be treated. That until that point, we honestly were still like something could have happened at any point. Like,
it was at that point that she said the words curable. And that's when we were like, oh my gosh, you know, thank you, God. We had prayed for this moment and it was actually happening. You know, so many prayers have been answered up to this point, but this was just like a huge moment, knowing that there was a treatment for her and that she could be treated and that this is curable. You know, we just prayed and prayed and prayed, and it seemed God just continued to answer our prayers. And so the beginning of January, or mid-January, she started treatment, and she just did amazing with the treatment. And basically it's an oral medication that we personally give her every day, and it targets the tumor that she has. So she took this targeted treatment for a total of 2 months. They did another MRI and it had shrunk almost in half. Another answer to prayer.
Yeah, and then obviously we were excited, her doctors were very excited, and the neurosurgeon thought that she was healthy enough to perform a full resection. So in March, they went in, removed the entire tumor. We got great news. The tumor was officially out, and you know, it was a great day. Like, we never thought we would get to see the day.
Like, amazing. I mean, she's tumor free now, and that's just something that like seemed so impossible. I still cry all the time, like realizing where we started and where we are now. And of course, like, thousands of you prayed, everybody prayed. And I just know that the power of prayer is the reason that we're here now. Between St. Jude and God, that's like why Fletcher is where she is.
She's on the treatment again, and after 4 months of being on the treatment, they're gonna do another scan, and if the cancer were to return, we would have to return to Memphis, and we would be there for another 6 months.
But the hope is that she takes this targeted treatment for 4 months and it kills any possible remaining cells that there are. So, you know, now we just continue to pray that this treatment works and that she won't need any other chemo after this. Life with Fletcher is significantly better than life without Fletcher. And I think that's something that all parents feel with their children. And we feel that even more so because I think we know the feeling of that could be taken away at any second. But becoming parents it's been the best thing. I feel like this is a whole new chapter of life. She has been nothing but, I don't know, just a blessing, and a bonus, I mean, to our life. Everything is better with her.
Yeah, there was a specific moment with her to where, obviously when we were home on hospice for 3 months, we were constantly worrying or trying not to worry, but I remember a specific moment to where, you know, a couple weeks had gone by, we had gotten good news that her tumor was treatable, and, you know, thinking to myself like, man, I've gone 3 days without thinking about her dying. And I think that's really where it began to pick up with us. Like, we just lived like normal parents, and it was such a great feeling to no longer have to worry, like, is today the day, is tomorrow the day? And I think from there we really like blossomed as parents.
Just to feel like we can kind of breathe a little bit. And I mean, I feel like that recently happened, really.
Yeah.
To feel like relief and feel like, I don't know, just a weight off of our shoulders. She's just the best. I just love her. She's the best, and I can't wait for all the memories that we're gonna continue to make with her. So Fletcher's personality is definitely, she is sweet and spicy. She's like the best mix of both, which honestly, we knew she had to be a little fighter whenever she was born. So she has truly shown, she's shown that she's a little fighter.
We call her our little Sour Patch Kid because she's sour and then she's sweet. But overall, like, the thing that they've described her as over and over again at St. Jude is just, she's a fighter, you know?
And she's so happy. She's just a happy baby. She's happy all the time.
And it's been great to see her develop physically. She gets stronger every day. You know, we work with her doing OT and PT and things, and we're working on her head control and her rolling, and it's been great to see her little physical milestones. And she's getting stronger every day.
She's the sweetest, the happiest girl, huh? What do you think? Do you like being on camera? Fletcher has just shifted. She's caused this whole movement almost in our community for people to pray. And I know that God is using her in such a huge way I think to bring people closer to God. But like, we're living this miracle like you see in movies, and it's still surreal to us, you know, what we've been through, what's happening now. We're just so thankful. There's really no words to describe how grateful we are.
Yeah, not only was, you know, we felt the impact from the community, but, you know, the things that Fletcher has proven to the people here, but also her doctors. The treatment she's on is some very groundbreaking medical science. You know, there were previous patients at St. Jude just 2 years ago that this wasn't available to. We know families, we become friends with these families, and traditional chemo was the route that they had to take. And, you know, Fletcher is kind of pioneering this way. Her doctor told us that, you know, she wants to use her in some of her studies that she plans to publish in the future. And if all goes well and this treatment does what they think it's going to do, you know, it will forever impact, like, you know, childhood cancer and how this medicine can be used versus traditional chemo. And the people at St. Jude have honestly been blown away at just her trajectory.
Her occupational therapist and her physical therapist and her speech therapist, they just continue to be really amazed at the things that she's doing. Because, you know, the MRI that they saw the week she was born, even the doctors at St. Jude look at that and think, you know, there's a lot that needs to happen here. They had a care plan for her and hope for her, but still, there's a lot of hurdles she needs to get through. And she just continued to just like kind of blow their minds. And now you look at her MRI and her doctor is blown away because, and like her exact words to us are, look at all her healthy brain. You know, because that's one of the things that we heard when she was born at that first MRI was that she really had no healthy brain. And that's why there was nothing that could be done. But her doctor at St. Jude, you know, looks at her MRI now and she's like, look at this. Like, look at all of her healthy brain. You know, it's just crazy how far she's come. So she's defying the odds. And hopefully what they learn from her is groundbreaking research to help other kids in the future. Fletcher has made such an impact in this community, and it's honestly blown our minds. And so even early on, when we were still at home on hospice after she was born, we decided that we definitely wanted to make a foundation in her name. So we're excited to say we will eventually be starting Fletcher Layne's foundation. And our plans right now with it are very broad, but basically we definitely want to give back to St. Jude. We want to, you know, support families in the NICU. We would love to just basically support children battling cancer as well. You know, this event today is helping us get through the rest of our journey. And thank you just doesn't seem to sum up how we really feel, because we would not be able to survive this without the support of you guys. So we want to say thank you to every single person, you know, that came out tonight, donated, is here supporting us. And we also just want to say, you know, in the future, we hope to continue this event as Fletcher Layne's Foundation, and to give back to St. Jude, to give back to children, you know, battling cancer. We want to 100% return all the kindness and support that we've received through our journey. We want to return that in the future.
Yeah, we just want families that have, you know, sick kids to feel the love that we felt because of you guys. You know, not everyone had the support system that we have, and it's very overwhelming when you're in these situations with financial support, let alone without. So, you know, one of the big goals of the foundation will be to support families financially as they go through things, pay their mortgage, pay their car payment, groceries, things like that. We just want families to feel how we felt because of you guys.
Yes. We just want to say the biggest thank you to every single person that's here tonight. From the bottom of our heart, thank you for getting us through this. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for being here. I'm so emotional because it's just incredible, and there's really just not words. Yeah. There's just not words to say how we feel. So thank you. We love you all, every single one of you, every single person that has prayed for us and helped support us. Thank you. Our story has been such a roller coaster, but honestly, through all of it, we've become so much closer to God, so much stronger in our marriage. And honestly, Fletcher has taught us so much. Our perspective on everything in life is different because of her. And that's something that we'll always be thankful for.
Yeah.